Thank you so much for joining me here today, Gloria. We've got lots of great info to share on California's SB 9 bill, and what better way to learn than from the expert herself here. I'm Shannon Ellison from the Walker team at Entitled Real Estate, and I've been a full-time realtor here in the beautiful Bay Area since 2019.
My name is Gloria Riechers. I am a partner at Riechers Engineering, and we are a civil engineering firm based in Northern California, but we work throughout the entire state of California. And we specialize in doing lot splits for homeowners. So we do SB 9 lot splits, as well as we're now doing SB 1123 lot splits. Started this company with my dad right when SB 9 came into law. We've pretty much become the experts for these type of projects in the state. So super excited to help educate more people on the new opportunities.
Awesome. That's why we're here today, to help educate everybody. And that's my goal. So let's learn the details about SB 9 and how homeowners can leverage it to their advantage. And with that, we're going to hop right in with maybe the most obvious question, and that is, what exactly is SB 9 anyway?
Yeah, so it stands for Senate Bill 9. It is a new law, well, newish, I guess now it's about 3 years old, and it allows homeowners who have a single family residential zoned property to split or subdivide their property into 2 separate parcels. So before this law, a homeowner had one home on the property. They could build an ADU and a junior ADU, but that was about it. And now with this new law, they can literally split it, create a brand new legal real estate asset, which can be sold separately and can be developed up to 4 homes in total. So obviously this unlocks a ton of value and housing potential for the entire state. And it's a ministerial law, which means that there's no neighborhood approval process. There's no subjective orders from the city. So at least theoretically, it's supposed to be pretty streamlined process.
And it's California only. It's our bill here.
Correct.
Those people that maybe watch YouTube, it's maybe not in their state, maybe yet, but we're talking about here in California.
And it applies to the entire state, so every single city and even the unincorporated areas that are within the county, it also applies, but it must be in an urban area and it must be single family residence zoned to apply.
Got it. Are you seeing a lot of people utilize this? And if so, why do you think maybe not as many people are?
Yeah, it's not as much pickup as we had thought, given how much value this can create. And I think the reason it's been slow to pick up is simply because there's a lack of education. I think a lot of homeowners and even realtors don't yet know about SB 9 and what it does and how it applies. So I think that is probably the main thing. Secondly, if a homeowner is trying to do it themselves, it's highly complicated and complex. I know if I was a homeowner and I didn't have my background, I would probably give up before I started. It is a very complicated technical process. And lastly, I would say the cities haven't exactly made it easy. Now to do an ADU, it's pretty streamlined and easy, but there's still a lot of friction, especially again for people who don't know how to submit an SB 9 application. It can be fraught with challenges.
Sure, that makes sense, and that's where you come in.
Yeah, exactly. We do all the hard work and, deal with all the headaches so that the homeowners don't have to.
So it was passed in January of 2020?
2021. Yeah.
2021. So it hasn't been in circulation for that long. So maybe just putting out videos like this, talking about use cases and real life scenarios with people and really educating them, we might see it utilized more.
Absolutely. And I heard that, when ADUs first came around, there was a couple years where there was barely any applications. And then they improved the bill and a couple things happened and then it just skyrocketed. So that might happen. I could see that happening with this as well.
Yeah, especially when people hear a story where somebody has success with it and they're like, I could do that. But then it starts getting the ball rolling. What exactly are some of the benefits, and does it increase property value, and how?
Definitely. What is so valuable in California, as you know, is real estate itself, the land itself. Everyone wants to live in California, wants to have a piece of land here. And so if we're able to create a brand new real estate parcel that's buildable, it's highly valuable. And so you might have a property with a home on it, and you might have a little spare area in the side yard or the backyard that can be split off and sold. And if you do that, the split increases your property value by about 25 to 30% net. And so there's a slight reduction in the parent property value because obviously you're just reducing the size, but then you're increasing it so much. So you're getting like a net increase of 30% value. That's without any sort of development or improvements. That's simply just doing the lot split. So that's huge.
It's a pretty big jump, especially in a relatively quick period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Another benefit is you can have more rental income. So maybe people want passive income. They can build 2 to 3 units that have tenants in it. So not only is that creating more housing, which we need in California, but it's also bringing in more money for the landlords and for the homeowners. It allows homeowners to diversify their assets, also unlock cash that is currently locked up in the property. So if you have all this money and capital locked up in your property, you split it, you can unlock and liquidate some of the value of the land while still staying on your property. Or maybe you want to downsize and move into a smaller ADU, and then you can sell or rent out the bigger home.
So many things you can do with it.
Yeah.
Really. And from an engineering perspective, what's the smartest, and maybe it depends on the situation, but what's the smartest long-term plan? Like after you split the lot, people that split it and then build it, or split it and then sell it? I guess maybe it's situation specific, but is there like generally one way that's most profitable?
That's a good question. We see all of it, and I can't say there's one obvious answer of which makes the most sense. Obviously depends on someone and their financial situation. Some people just need or want money immediately, so they want to split and sell off one of their parcels. I guess for the longer term investment, the most intelligent way to go about it might be to split it, then develop it yourself, and then either have rental income or hold on to it as a nest egg for the future for your children. But I've seen it, benefit people for all of those different options.
Beautiful, beautiful answer. So let's dig in a little bit into requirements, because not every single lot is eligible, and we know that it has to be single family. So what are some other requirements in addition to like the square footage of the lot that are needed to be able to be eligible for SB9?
Yeah, so speaking of square footage, there actually is no minimum lot size. So you could do this on a little postage stamp property, and there's no lot that's too small. It might not make sense financially, but there's no minimum lot size. And there is one requirement that's a little funny, which is the owner-occupancy requirement. And I say it's funny because it's kind of a gray area, but essentially they don't want this law to be used by investors or developers too much. So there's a requirement that the owner sign an affidavit stating that they intend to reside on the property or one of the properties for the 3 years after the lot split. But the key word is they intend to live there. And so if their current intention while they sign the document is, yeah, we intend that, that's fine. It also means they can change their mind. They're not like stuck to to live on the property for 3 years and yeah, and they're not going to come and check. So it's a little bit of a odd requirement. And I've also heard certain cities saying the tenant can sign that document. So it kind of just depends on the city or the county whether or not the tenant can be the one to sign the owner occupancy form.
Interesting. Okay.
And the other items are you can't be in a flood or high fire zone, but there are actually workarounds for that. We just need to make sure there's fire mitigation measures present. It used to be that you couldn't be in a historical zone, but now that's all out the window. So I would say best is for people to go to our free eligibility checker tool. They can plug in their address, and for free it'll show whether or not the property is eligible.
That would be great. Awesome. So what does it look like working with you? The process, let's talk timeline, and then what your role is in the splitting of the lot.
Yeah, so we will take the entire process from A to Z. We're a white glove service, so homeowners hire us so they can be hands off in the process, which is great because most people have no idea how to submit these kinds of applications. So we'll take the entire process from doing the tentative parcel map, preparing all the application documents, getting the title report, doing all the map drafting, surveying, working with the planning departments to get approvals, paying fees, doing bio reports if necessary. Yeah, and working with the city and county takes us about 10 to 12 months to get tentative map approval and final map approval. So it's a long, arduous process. We have about 300 different touch points with the city, the county to get it approved. So there's a lot of back and forth. And we do a topographic survey and a boundary survey. And then once we get final map approval, then we record the map, and the owner now owns 2 properties, and they could theoretically sell that second parcel that same exact day.
So they get a brand new parcel number for their new property. And the old parcel number, the parent one stays the same, and a new one.
Yeah. And I'm curious, for your audience, do you have a lot of realtors in your audience, or is it mostly homeowners, would you say?
I do. It's a mix, but there are definitely a lot of realtors there as well.
Okay, cool. No, I just asked because I think it's important that realtors get educated on this as well, because for you guys, it's such an incredible opportunity to encourage homeowners to do this if it's right for them. And then you have, more properties to play with and sell and buy.
Yeah, and a lot of times when a homeowner, they move into their home, and realtors stay in touch with people for years to come, 10 years down the line. Some people, I have clients that purchased 6 years ago, and we're still in touch, So a lot of times that realtor is their first person they go to as a resource with anything to do real estate. And so the more that we know as agents having to do with SB9, the better that we can steer them to the correct professional depending on what their goals are. Super, super important. So typical challenges. I know you 300 touch points with the city is insane. I can imagine 10 touch points for a homeowner seems like a lot. So that's definitely a value there. Nobody wants to deal with the city, right? But what are some typical challenges that you face in regards to like separating utilities, water, electrical? What does that look like in Santa Clara County?
Yeah, so we don't always have to do things with utilities. The only time when we would need to separate the utilities is if there is a second unit on the new property. So let's say there's a home and an ADU and they're going to end up on separate properties. Then we need to have separate utility lines to the street. Otherwise, if you're just creating a brand new vacant parcel, you don't have to do anything with the utilities. You just keep it as is. So yeah, if you do need to separate it, then you need to contact the utility company and do the actual construction just to put another pipe underground and pay the fees associated. I would say that is one of the more unexpected costs associated with the project, and it ranges so wildly. So it just depends on the utility company what they're going to charge for a new hookup.
So is that one of the most common delays that you face, or are there other delays that are maybe unforeseen that you've seen come up that weren't expected?
Yeah, that's a great question. The most common delay is just the city and county taking so long with their processing. We're really diligent about following up because they legally have to respond to us within 30 days or else it's deemed complete and approved. So they have some incentive, to reply back with feedback, but that's our biggest delay, is just sometimes it's like pulling teeth, getting approvals from the cities and counties. Yeah, I would say that's the most common.
And how about costs? Because I know everybody's wondering costs about everything all the time. So what are the costs associated? The city, county fees, your fee, and maybe down so we could get some clarity on that.
Yeah, totally. So there's, like I said, a topographic survey, boundary survey, application costs. And for the record, you might see on a city website like application costs $6,000, but what that's referring to is just the initial deposit. After that, they can charge any amount. They charge time and material after that. So a lot of people are like, wait, it should just be $6,000, and it's like, that's just the initial amount. So if you're a homeowner doing this yourself, that's kind of the scary part, is you're opening up your checkbook and you don't know how much it's going to cost at the end of the day. If you work with us, we do a fixed fee because we have a pretty good idea of what it's going to cost. And so we give a fixed fee cost that no matter what, you're not going to end up paying more than this. And clients only pay us if we get approval. So besides this initial deposit, they only pay us a significant amount of money if we get the approval. So there's like this guarantee. So anyways, I kind of digressed, but I just wanted to mention that about pricing. So additional costs, like I said, include utility construction if that's necessary, which we don't include in our fee because we're not getting involved with development of the property. We pay for title report, we do drainage plans, improvement plans, we do tentative parcel map drafting, we pay for all the application city costs, and including our costs, it's about $40,000 to $75,000 all inclusive for about a 10 to 15 month process. And again, if people decide to work with us, there's an upfront deposit. And besides that, they don't pay unless we get that city or county approval.
Yeah, that's a nice guarantee that you guys have built in there. And I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of upfront, like kind of questioning and like surveying of the lot before you even say, okay, we're going to take this on, just to make sure that you know that you guys can actually handle it, I'm sure.
Yeah, we do a very thorough feasibility check. We learned that over the last couple of years that we don't want to waste anybody's time or money. So we do a really thorough check free of charge. And once we, it looks like it's a green light, then we move forward.
Have you had any that were rejected and you didn't expect them to be rejected? Applications to the city?
Yeah, we've had probably a 8% rejection rate, so pretty high from what we expected. Been a variety of reasons. Some is the client turns out they can't sign the affidavit, that owner-occupancy document. Turns out they don't have the money to pay for the utility costs or an improvement that the city required. We've had one that ended up being in a fire zone and they couldn't meet the mitigation measures. Have to do with like a driveway turnaround requirement. So there's been a variety of reasons, but no major like repeat issues.
I would say 8% is low, but you said it was higher than you expected, so.
We were hoping for 0, but
Yeah.
it was wishful thinking.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are out of your control too. So you do your best with what people give you, and I'm sure you've learned about the process to vet the property in the beginning as you started. What year was it that you guys started Riechers Engineering, and how long have you been doing business and SB9?
Yeah, in 2021. So we started the company. It passed in January, and we started 2 months before that, preparing our first application. So we started the business essentially right in January.
You were ready to go, chomping at the bit.
My dad was a civil engineer and real estate developer 40 years, and he was retired. He'd sold his company, and he heard about this law, and he just was freaking out. He's like, this is so exciting. We have to do something with this. So yeah, we started up this company to provide this really specific service. Yeah.
Okay, we're getting through these. These are great. Any advice that you would give to a future homeowner before they start diving into this process?
The most obvious one is just do the free eligibility checker to see whether your property is eligible or not. That way, don't waste your time, obviously, if it's not eligible. I would say don't pay anyone for a consultation when you can get it for free. And we are the experts in lot splitting in the state, so I welcome people to come to us and we'll give a free consultation without any pressure. It's just kind of informing and educating people on what the process looks like, what the cost is. And any other advice? I mean, I would just say, yeah, if you have a home and a property, look into it. It's good to know your options, even if you aren't trying to do something right away. It's good to know what you have available, especially when the economy is changing. It's good to know how you can add value to your property.
Most definitely. And there's different bills coming about and changing things all the time. So just staying up to date on the current laws and what they mean for your property is so important. And you said you were working with another bill earlier when we first started the call. Can you dive into that? You said SB9 and SB
1123.
Which one is 1123?
So I must admit, I'm not an expert yet. We have another branch of the business who is like running with this, and that's amazing. So I'm not fully educated on it yet, but it does allow for way more development to happen. So it's for kind of bigger lots, and you can build, I think, up to 10 homes on the property. It's also for single family zoned properties. Yeah, so if people are looking to do more of a big development project, they can also reach out to us and I'll put them in touch with the experts of that sector.
Perfect. You got them covered. I'm sure you have a lot of success stories, but is there any that were just like, wow, this law was made for this client or this property and they really benefited some way from that?
Yeah, we luckily do have a lot of these kinds of stories. Like I said, we have some clients who do the split and then just want to hang on to it as a nest egg for the future, for their kids. So there's no dramatic news there. They got what they came for. But I think the more exciting stories come when people split and then they sell the property and we're like, whoa, there was a huge win for them. And then we're like, oh, maybe we should have charged more because like they just made, so much money. But no, obviously we're just really excited for our clients to be benefiting. One of our clients in Santa Clara just sold her second lot with an ADU on it for $1.4 million. So before it was just a property home with an ADU, she split off the ADU. Utilities were also already separated, so she didn't have to do anything. And then she just sold it off, and that was $1 million increase. And we got her project done in like 10 months. So she literally increased her property value by $1 million in 10 months.
And how big was her initial lot to start with to make that feasible?
I believe it was about a half acre.
Okay, so pretty sizable.
Mhm.
Half acre in Santa Clara, that's quite a property to have.
Yeah. And then we had another property, our client in Milpitas, who sold his new lot recently, and he saw a $900,000 net value increase. I could probably give you these links if you want to look at the specific, Zillow links or something. We could put them in the show notes.
Sure.
But yeah, he saw a $900,000 net value increase from doing the split and then selling.
That's huge.
Yeah, and then another one in Danville, he created a vacant lot. It hasn't sold yet. It's on the market for over $1 million. He's got a big grassy knoll in Danville. And then we have another client in Santa Barbara who they had, it was siblings who had homes on one property, but they were kind of like tied to each other. They couldn't do what they wanted with the property because their parents had gifted them this one property. So they hired us to split it, and now they each have their own lots, and one can sell and do what they want and kind of live their life like they want to, and the other gets to stay in the home. So it kind of created that nice individuality between the siblings. So those are a couple of the success stories.
Watching can say, that could be me, or that's my situation, So thank you so much for sharing some of those stories. And thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. Is there anything else that sticks out that you think is like a must know, or any questions that you get that we didn't cover today?
One thing pops out that I want to mention is a lot of people don't have this kind of money sitting around, like $40,000 to $70,000 or even more to develop. So I do want to mention that we have a lot of incredible partners that we work with. Realtors like you guys, developers, builders, contractors, architects. We have an amazing network, which means that somebody might come to us and they're like, I have a perfect property to be split, but I don't have the money to do it or build it. And so we put people with the right people to help develop or sell the property. And so I just want to encourage people that if anyone's listening and they're like, oh, this is great, but I don't have that kind of capital, I would recommend still reaching out, because we can pair you with people that do have money and they just want to have a perfect property to kind of work with. So there's a lot of puzzle pieces that can fit together, and we've got an amazing team that's really smart with networking and introducing the right people.
That's so helpful. I know there's a lot of people out there that have had a property that it would benefit them to split it, but they've owned it for so long. Maybe they own it outright. Maybe they're retired and they don't have income and they just don't have those funds.
Yeah, and there's actually one other thing I'll mention, because we get this question a lot, which is about taxes. So some people would say, well, I don't want to split it, especially before I need it, because then we're going to pay a bunch more in taxes because of the property value increase. But that's actually not true. So even though you're increasing your property value with the split, you're not going to be increasing your property value taxes. The only tax increase you'll see is a per parcel tax, which is pretty minimal. It's like maybe a couple $100s a year. But the reassessment of value doesn't happen, you probably know this, until they sell the property. And so one day, if they sell the parcel, then that'll get reevaluated. But if they split and hang on to them, there's no increase in that.
So if they split and they want to sell one, there is going to be taxes that are due on the lot that they sell. I'm curious how they assess that.
So the tax assessor will assess the lots on value, but the new owner will have to pay the higher taxes. The person who's selling, their taxes will actually go down because they're reducing the amount of land that they own. So if you split and sell off, your taxes go down, and the new owner will have to pay the kind of like the re-evaluated amount. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the reassessed amount for the sale price.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's another benefit for the seller, is your property taxes down too by getting rid of the
Yeah.
land that you don't use.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know property taxes in California are a beast. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, thank you so much for your time and your insights today. I really feel it's important to educate people around this topic and homeowners in specific so they can leverage this really unique bill that probably should be utilized more.
Mhm.
But be sure for you guys watching to share this with someone who you think might find it helpful. And if you want more details or you want to find out our contact information, it's all going to be down below. We look forward to seeing how we can help you. Thank you, Gloria.
Thank you so much, Shannon. It was great to be here and appreciate your questions.